Hello and welcome to MTV, where this week's word is relationships. Barb Latimer sent that word in as her focus word for this year, just really wanting to be passionate in building her relationships. And as I was giving that thought and thinking about the priority that I give to relationships in my life, I wanted to share with you some things that I do to make sure that I keep proper balance in my life of God first, spouse second, children third, and then, of course, family and friends and my career, premier, my work aspect of life. So the first thing that I want to let you know is that I just have kind of diagnostic questions that I ask myself, and these help to keep me in check, to make sure that I'm on the right track where my relationships are concerned. So when it comes to my relationship with God, if I find myself saying, I don't have enough time for God, I'm so busy, then I know that something needs to change right away. Because see, it's from my time in the Word, from my time praying, that God really keeps me on target, understanding that He has the ability to supernaturally stretch my time to accomplish all that He has intended for me to do in a given day. I have to say that this one relationship, the relationship that I have with God, has kept me from more meltdowns than I would want to count. So I'm thankful for that relationship. The second relationship is with my spouse. Fred should only be second to God, and I want him to know that he has high priority in my life, higher priority than my mothering of our two boys, than what I do in Premier. And so it's very important. So if I find myself saying, man, we don't have time to go on a date night, then I know I've got to stop and go, wait, you know what? What gets calendared is what actually happens. I've got to make sure that I'm making that a priority so that my relationship with Fred stays up to date and that we are where we need to be to have the strongest possible relationship in not only for our business, but in the parenting of our boys as well. So God first, spouse second. The third would be children. You know, we have two boys, they're 10 and 12, a fifth grader and a seventh grader. And I am learning more and more that God has given us our children for a season. And it's important that I give them the priority that they need in the season of life that they are in right now. And so one of the things that I ask myself, if I hear myself saying regularly, I don't have time to play that game with you, or I don't have time to listen to this long story, then I know I need a perspective change because I have them but for a season, and I want to be able to influence them and help them to grow into the godly young men that Fred and I desire of them to the best of my ability, and that requires my time. And so I want you to know that parenting is so humbling, and so oftentimes I find myself saying, boys, please forgive me, I spoke harshly, or boys, please forgive me, I didn't have the patience that I needed. Can I encourage you, be humble with your kids, seek forgiveness when you don't do it the right way, and then move from there and really work to allow God to help you in your relationship with your children. You know, I was encouraged by a very dear friend many, many years ago. She told me, Elizabeth, when you get those boys in that van, you be sure that you're not on that phone so they don't feel ignored by you when you're driving. Or when they get home from school, you make sure that you can give them some attention right away. And so I encourage you, don't miss those amazing moments that can happen when you choose to give your children the time that they need based on the season of life that they're in. So God first, spouse second, children third. I'm going to put family and friends next. You know, a marker for me would be if I catch myself talking about Premier all of the time. I'm dominating the conversation. And that helps me to really ask myself, Elizabeth, are you in a selfish tendency of thinking that what's happening in your life is more important than what's happening in the lives of your friends and family? And it's a great opportunity for you to step back and go, you know what? I need to look out not only for my own interest, but also the interest of others. That's part of the Premier verse for this year. So make sure that we're giving them our undivided attention. I'm having to personally work on making sure I'm not looking at my cell phone when someone's trying to have a conversation with me, or constantly checking my phone in the midst of a conversation. So that's important as well. And then beyond that is the relationships that we have within our premier business, with our customers, with our hostesses, with the jewelers that we are privileged to lead in this business. We need to also be working to build those relationships, and that does take time. That takes the personal touch of writing the handwritten note, or picking up the phone and making the call and say, hey, I thought about you today, with no expectation of anything from that person. What a world of good you can do when you choose to care about people, expecting nothing in return from them. Relationships, they are so very important. You know, in Mark 12, verse 30, it says, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and with all your strength. My prayer for you this week is that you would choose to love God with everything that you have, and then He will allow you to love your spouse, your children, your family, your friends, those you know through Premier, in ways that you never thought possible. Choose to focus on the priority of relationships this week, and know that we are looking forward to seeing you back here one more time for MTV.